Welcome to the availability training video. The availability section is where you will enter any time off requests, and you can access it by coming over to scheduling and then selecting my availability. So when you select my availability, the first thing that's going to happen is it's going to bring up a calendar. The calendar is going to default to the current month, and it will show any time off you have and on which date. So as you can see, we have a time off request that has been approved for Thursday the 23rd. So to request time off, you'll first want to select the blue Request Time Off button, top right corner. This is going to bring up a new screen where you're going to enter the details of your time off request. So as you can see, there are quite a few options for entering your request, and we're going to go through how to do each of them. So we're going to start with a single day request, pretty basic. So that's just going to be if you need one day off. So you would come here, request time off, select single day. You'll come down to your start date, and you're going to select the day that you need off. So let's say it's going to be the 28th. Now, when you come down, you're going to select the length. So the length is either going to be 24 hours or a block of time. We have a third length option that is called the overnight option. And I want to clarify what this means. This overnight option counts for the hours of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So it truly is just an overnight request off. So if you enter your length as overnight, but you mean to request the entire day off, and you select overnight instead of 24-hour, the system is only going to block you off between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. So your request won't go through, and the system won't notice that you are off for a daytime. So just important to kind of clarify, if you're not an overnight pet sitter, you should never really need to use this overnight option. So groomers, you're never going to use overnight. You're always going to use block of time or 24-hour, and pet sitters, same for you, unless you can't do overnight stays at client's home or bed and biscuit. Please don't ever select overnight. So for this example, we're going to say 24-hour, and then you can add any notes, and you're going to select request. Now, if you have multiple entries that you need to enter, instead of selecting request, you can come over to this arrow just to the right, and you can select request and add more. And what that does is basically it just brings you to another fresh request time off, and you can start over. So now let's do a block of time request off. So again, single day, let's select the 29th, and we're going to do a block of time. So let's say you have a doctor's appointment or something, and you only need a few hours off. You would want to do a block of time. So let's say you need 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Again, always make sure you're entering your notes. And then same thing, you can hit request and add more. Okay, so for our next example, we'll talk about multiple days. So let's say you're going out of town or you have vacation, whatever it may be, you need multiple days off. You would select multiple days. You can see it'll then give you a start date and end date option. So let's say we'll start 29th and let's end the 31st. For the days, so all that means is what days of those dates do you need off. So if you need all of those days off, you need the 29th, 30th, and the 31st, it's easiest to just select all. You could also select the specific days, but for this example, you can just select all. There is an except for option, and this is nice for if maybe you have, maybe you need the 29th, the 29th and the 31st, but you just want to do one entry. You could say 129 through 131, but then you could add except for. And that basically means that you will only be off the 29th and the 31st. So you can see that even in this multiple days option, you have the varying length option. So let's say you just need the whole day off on the 29th and the 31st, you would just select 24-hour. But let's say you maybe need a block of time instead. Maybe you have appointments those days and you only need a block of time off. You can then select the start and end times of those blocks. So for this example, we'll just do a 24-hour. Okay, and then the last schedule example I will show you is an ongoing availability request. So you're going to use this if there is a situation where you have a recurring or standing appointment on a certain day of the week. So let's say you have an appointment on Wednesdays at about 5 o'clock every single week, and you know that going in, you'd want to add it as an ongoing. That way you don't have to go back in every single week or every single month and put your time off in. You can do it all at once, and it'll just auto-populate every single month. It'll take you off on those Wednesdays. The nice thing is that this sort of request is also able to be edited. So if your schedule ever changes and the day changes from a Wednesday to a Thursday, you're able to go in and edit that and change it to a Thursday. So it is nice because you can change them, but you also don't have to go in every single month and update it. So I'll show you how to do that. You basically select ongoing. It's the same concept. Your start date is when that time off will begin. So let's say starting the 29th, you are going to need Wednesdays off. That way you don't have to go in and select the actual calendar date. You can just select the day of the week and the system automatically puts it on the calendar. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. This except for option comes back. So let's say you already know right now today that you need Wednesdays off, except you know that Wednesday, February 5th, you won't have that appointment, so you will be available. So what the system will do is it'll add an availability entry for every single Wednesday except for the 5th of February, beginning on January 29th. Again, your length, you're able to customize it of 24-hour, block of time. For the sake of this example, let's say we need okay, and then we will select request. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So you can see all of your requested time off. So we did all of these in different ways. So when you add them, they'll add to your calendar in white with a red requested. Basically what happens is the back office will receive it and they'll go through and they'll approve them. And once they're approved, they will turn yellow and they will say approved. But you'll want to make sure you're going in here and updating this as often as you can. It does help the back office a ton, especially with scheduling. And so, we never want to give you visits or grooms that you're not available for, especially some of those ongoing ones. So if you know there are certain days where you have certain appointments or certain things going on, you're not available, please go in and add them as an ongoing request. That way the back office knows.